How big is big?
Big. Okay. Is so big it can't be moved.
Is that what you're saying, Ross? Is that what you've been told?
That's exactly what I'm saying. So big they built a building over it. In a country outside of the United States of America. They're too bloody big. Let's just see what happens.
How big is big?
Big. Okay. Is so big it can't be moved.
Is that what you're saying, Ross? Is that what you've been told?
That's exactly what I'm saying. So big they built a building over it. In a country outside of the United States of America. They're too bloody big. Let's just see what happens.
How big is big?
Check, check, check. Hello, hello. Welcome, 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 everyone. Welcome to a live Saturday show. So happy to be here with you guys. Before we get started, Calabria is finally on time. Thank you for being on time, Pat. Truly appreciate it. Simon Fly, massive. B. Baker, huge. Dana Shadell, I will tell you more. Night Gazer, it may very well have its own border. It's notorious. Clump Lizard, thank you for being here. You guys, this should be a fun show. Zamog, James Craig, Swint McLeod, I see all of you guys. Aram95, World Chaos 76, what is shaking? Jeff McNally, welcome everyone. Welcome. I'm so happy you catch it live. That's great. Yeah, the more I get feedback like that, the more I know that, hey, Saturday streams work for you guys. Obviously, this wasn't a planned stream. Very few of my streams are planned. So if you haven't already, ring the bell. That way you're notified every time we go live. And also smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't done those things already. Truly appreciate it. All right. So we started off the evening with a little bit of Cosmic Judas. Yeah, he is the man. And perfectly in less than what it was that. How long was that clip? 30 seconds. Let's see here. 36 seconds. In 36 seconds, he highlighted perfectly everything wrong with the UFO discussion today. This is such a great moment to highlight, stop, and recognize, because this shit happens all the time. But I don't think a claim this big, this huge, this massive has been made in a long time. This kind of claim goes into the Linda Moulton Howe category. This goes into the Stephen Greer category. This sent parts of UFO Twitter into a mad dash and search for the building and the country that is housing this UFO so big that they can't even move it. We're gonna get into it. There's so, I mean, for a clip this short, it is amazing to me how, well, let me see, what's the best way to put this? Oh man, I have a feeling I messed that up, but we'll fix it in the live. Let me go ahead and just search this video real quick and pull it up so I have it ready to go for you guys. I probably should have already done this. I mean, fair to say, or maybe not. All right, so I'm going to also, let me just go ahead and get the link for this, because we got to do the old fair use, right? As you can see, this stream was totally not planned, but I'm going to put the full link for this clip, or the link to the full clip in the description of the video. So that way it is there. Oh, wait a second. It went to the bottom here. Okay, just paste it. There we go. There we go. So that's updated. I'll also put it in the live stream for you guys. So if you want to keep it for yourselves, share it with a friend, you know, I think this highlights, I would rather you share this show and us breaking down this clip. But if you want to see it uninterrupted without this face, there's the clip for you. Okay, so Ross Coulthart and Jay, as I like to refer to him as Jay Malibu, that's how we warmly referred to him when he was on our show a few times. I'd say Jay Malibu made an appearance. And he was there for the Big Phone Home. I personally, look, I know I've taken a couple of jabs at Jay and at Project Unity. I think one of the best discussions that's ever been had about the Wilson Davis documents was between John Greenwald and Jay. I think he's incredibly intellectual. I think he's very open-minded. I think his heart's in the right place, but I think the people who say that they're his friends and that, you know, grant him interviews and I'm sure open other doors for him to have other great guests in interviews. I know because I've been in that chair before. I've been in that position where you know, you have these friends who are also giving you access to all of these other people that feed clicks and revenue and Patreons for your channel about UFOs and the phenomenon, right? It's obviously way more fun, way more sexy. It's go with the flow, like anything goes kind of subject where you can basically say whatever the fuck you want and you're never held accountable to it. But in this case, yeah, we're gonna call it out. Holy cow, I think there was just an earthquake. I think there's an earthquake happening right now. My heart always jumps for those things. Yeah, okay. I think we're good. Whoa, okay, so where the hell was I? Okay, so when it comes to this kind of claim, we're gonna, it's too good to not call out, especially when it's highlighted so beautifully by Cosmic Judas here, who's here in the chat. Thank you for being here, man. Really appreciate it. We played your clip at the top of the show. We'll probably also at the end of the show go to Cosmic Judas's page and just play some more clips. I always get flagged from YouTube every time I go on his page because it's none of it's copyright. It's all got restrictions on it, but I don't care. Like, we'll just cut it out. We'll edit it out. Like, there's an option to edit out those clips. So I put them at the top and at the end of every show. So if I have to edit them out, if they get the red flag, then we'll just take them out and it's not a big deal. But yeah, we'll do that at the end of the show. I'm sorry I keep rubbing this eye, but it feels like there's like something on my eyelash. Anyway, okay. So I've got the clip. Silva, hey, Danny Silva's here. Have you guys seen Danny calling it straight and not taking sides? I like him. Danny Silva is getting a lot of shit, and I was actually gonna bring that up in this show. Because yeah, Danny said, like, welcome to the party, pal. Like, this is what happens when you try and stay down the middle. And I know, like, I've leaned like opposite a lot, but like, that's the reason they hated my show to begin with, because my show, I tried my best to stay down the middle as best as I could, no matter who was on the show. And that really insulted a lot of people, as you're kind of getting a little bit of a taste of now, Danny. So yeah, I really appreciate when you do stuff like this. And I know it's not the first time, but I hope you're starting to see between 29 Palms and a UFO so big that you need to build an entire building around it, that these sources, these people that are spreading this stuff and causing a lot of confusion within mainstream media and outside of mainstream media, and muddying the waters. They are the mud. And yeah, it's as simple as that. So, okay. Let us switch shows here, switch modes. Yep, I knew that was going to happen. That's okay. Let's do this. We have to. All right, so guys, bear with me. I got to do this thing where I switch the screens on the thing inside the thing. All right, so there we go. Okay, beautiful. Beautiful. It just popped in there beautifully. Look at that. I didn't even have to. I mean, I guess I could make it a little bigger for you guys, right? I mean, we have to make it bigger. This is the show to make everything as big as possible. Okay, no, we're not going to go that big. Look, I mean, we just don't have the building to house a screen that big. You know what I mean? So, okay, so let's lock this screen down. That's in place. So again, this is Project Unity's channel. I've included the link in the description. I also want to say, fair use. This is a transformative work. We are educating the public and critiquing the videos we are sharing. This is covered under fair use and allowable by law. So with that said, let me do I'm sorry, guys. It's going to drive me crazy, but just let me do one more thing here. I know this is going against protocol for the show, but I'm going to just crop it a little bit. So that way the fair use thing is totally visible and no one's gonna call bullshit on this. You know what I mean, guys? Like, when we do a show like this, we gotta really cross the T's and dot the I's to make sure that the real haters and the real maniacs don't try and flag this show for BS and get the channel, you know, destroyed. But if it did, hey, we'll figure it out. Again, check out the link in the description below. Go subscribe to the Twitch channel, so if something like that does happen, you can watch us on Twitch. Okay, let's do this, shall we? I've talked long enough. Let's check out this clip. Ross Coulthart drops UFO bombshell is the title of this video.
It's not just House committees now. It's not just the House Armed Services Committee and the House Oversight Committee. It's now going to be, apparently mid next week, the Senate Armed Services Committee will be sponsoring the exact same language, pushing for UAP transparency, you know, the Gallagher sponsored amendment on the House side. So you'll have 3 committees publicly concerned about industry involvement in crash retrieval. That's historical, Ross, and groundbreaking. You've got the most powerful authorization committees in Congress, minus the HPSI, the House Permanent Select Committee for Intelligence, sponsoring the exact same language. The SSCI, that's the Senate Select Committee for Intelligence, the Senate Armed Services Committee, and the House Armed Services Committee. And I guess another one that we should possibly name is the Oversight Committee if Tim Burchett gets his go with them.
Oh boy,
and what he's
that
talking
good old
about
Tim Burchett.
Is, in part, the amendment that Mr. Gallagher has put up, which is essentially saying
Trust
no
Congress,
funds authorized to be appropriated by the National Defense Authorization Act for fiscal year 24 may be obligated or expended directly or indirectly, in part or in whole, to conduct or support any activity relating to unidentified anomalous phenomena that is controlled under a classified program that has not been formally, officially, explicitly, and specifically described, explained, and justified to the appropriate congressional committees, congressional leadership. It's pretty amazing, this stuff. And I mean, I've forgotten where it is.
So amazing.
You know, Douglas Dean Johnson's written it up the best, where he writes about how the new Senate intelligence bill that Kirsten Gallagher is pushing, it gives holders of non-Earth origin or exotic UAP material 6 months to make it available to the all-domain anomaly resolution office.
Yeah, but Ross, doesn't that just give them 6 months or more to hide their shit?
Doesn't that give them 6 months or more to hide their shit that's so hidden that Congress doesn't even know about it? Huh? 6 months? Like, don't you think they're going to put that crate even deeper in that Indiana Jones warehouse? I mean, come on, Ross. Like, 6 months? That gives them so much time to hide the programs that nobody's ever heard of or has proof of. Come on. Right?
Okay.
Okay. Dude,
People
this
are going to
pause. This pause. For a second there, I thought he was upset. But this pause. This guy's an actor, man. He knows exactly what he's doing when he delivers this information that drives the UFO believer absolutely wild and giddy with excitement when he delivers things like this. This is a slam dunk for proof of UFO existence and aliens visiting Earth.
To make it available to the all-domain anomaly resolution office.
Yeah, but Ross, doesn't that just give them 6 months or more to hide their shit?
Slam dunk.
Okay.
Okay.
People are going to question what I'm about to say.
Are they? Are they? Are they? People about to question what you about to say, Ross. Are they? I wonder what's gonna come out of your mouth now. Look how red this dude is. Look how red, look how flush this dude is. Oh, you're so adorable. If you weren't so adorable, oh God, I'd really hate you. I'd really hate you. But you're so fucking cute in that goddamn accent. I love it. Oh, all right, here we go.
What if some of that shit is so big it can't be moved?
What?
Is that what you're saying, Ross? Is that what you've been told?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Okay.
How big is big?
Big.
And let's be clear. Now, I've only watched this clip once, and I don't know if he clarifies what shit is, but he doesn't say craft here. Okay, let's just go back. Let's watch this one more time. This is like watching NFL films and breaking down how a quarterback is reading the defense and while the pocket is breaking down around him. Or for Aussies, it's like rugby. I got no analogies or anything I know about rugby other than it's kind of like shaped like a football. Moving on.
Question what I'm about to say. What if some of that shit is so big it can't be moved?
Can't be moved. That's shit.
Is that what you're saying, Ross? Is that what you've been told?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
How
Are
big
we talking
is
about a
big?
turd or a ship?
Big.
Big. It's
So
fucking
big they built a building over it
Oh.
in a country outside of the United States of America.
Go. Get out.
I know that sounds preposterous, and I know,
Does it?
oh my God,
No.
you can just hear them now, the bleating debunkers.
The bleeding debunkers. Just, you gotta probably have to throw them over your shoulder sometimes, I bet, Ross. Woo. We're the bad guy here. When we look at this and we go, bro, what? Shit's so big, they can't move it. Let's just say for a second that shit is a euphemism for UFO. Why would you build a UFO so big you can't move it? That sounds counterproductive. I thought this was anti-gravity technology that you could build a craft theoretically that big and push it because it's as light as a feather. What the fuck are you talking about? What are you talking about, sir? Hey, let's build a UFO. Fucking biggest one we can imagine. We've already got 6 sitting in a hangar. Let's make one so big that it doesn't fit in a hangar. Okay, 3 years, flash forward 3 years later. All right, good job, boys. Wait a second. How do we cover this thing? Oh, I guess we'll just build a building around it since we forgot to do that first. Oh, like, what the fuck? What source is giving you this, Ross? What in the... Wow, I'm trying not to curse because I think I only get like 4 or 5 a show. Holy cow, man. And we're the bleeding debunker.
Let's see this investigated.
Let's see this investigated.
Let's just
Yes,
see what
please.
happens. Let's test these allegations before the Congress.
Let's.
It's very, very...
Here's the thing. It looks like we're going to test these allegations within Congress, and that you guys are going to get answers to all of these bullshit claims. And the answers are going to be reality and the truth, and you're not going to like it. And you're going to create every excuse in the book as to why that reality that is put on the table by the likes of Senator Gillibrand, by the likes of Marco Rubio, by the likes of Mike Gallagher, by the likes of every congressman and committee that he just named. They're going to look into it. They're not going to find one iota of proof, not one iota of proof that that is real. I 98.9% guarantee that. And I'm right until somebody proves me wrong. And if I'm wrong, trust me when I tell you, I will be the first in line to kiss this beautiful Australian on his rosy cheeks and look him straight in those deep blue eyes and say, I am sorry, Ross Coulthart. I misjudged you. I'm an asshole. And I understand if you never, ever talk to me ever again. Not like you were talking to me before, but I would say that. No problem doing that whatsoever. But will he be able to do the same when Congress comes to the table, says, okay, we looked into it. We gave it a genuine effort. Here are the dollars. Here's the office. Here's the scientists that look into it. Here's the inquiries that we made with Title 50, without Title 50. We looked at it all. And fortunately, we found that now we have sensors to look at that zone of airspace that we weren't looking at before. Our pilots now know that there are things in the air that could be a safety risk. And most of the time it's drones. Most of the time it's air clutter. Most of the times it's birds. You'll also get things like, we now know that our enemies are using drones and balloons and making them look weird on purpose. Therefore, our military personnel do not report them. Where we successfully ended the stigma within all branches of the government on how to report these things. These are the things that are going to be said and put on the table as positive as what came out of this. They might even throw, and it was a bipartisan effort. Both sides agree on this. That'll be the last thing they say. There will be no alien technology. There will be no reverse engineering programs. There will be none of the promised craft so large that it couldn't fit in any hangar, in any base, anywhere on the world. So large that they built the craft first and then the building around it, which in the day of satellite imagery and space spy technology, that would be the most... God, I want to use just a socially unacceptable word here, but that would be the dumbest thing ever proposed by any military on any planet, let alone the United States. When are you believers going to say enough of the claims It's time for some proof. And are you going to accept when that's put on the table? When it's actually looked at and all of these people and all of these committees agree that there's nothing there? Are you going to accept it? Is Ross Coulthart going to accept that and correct and say that he got it wrong? I wonder if they're going to have the back and sort of rah cheer attitude to all of these senators and congressmen that promised them reverse engineering programs. Oh man, it's gonna get interesting. I'm gonna be like Cartman licking the tears when this information rolls down. And it's not gonna come for another 3 years, 4 years. It's when we're gonna get the actual answers on this. But before we get there, we're gonna create the offices, write the laws, make the budget, hire the scientists, do the research, cross-reference, pass more laws, get it more refined over and over and over again. And hopefully, like Kirkpatrick says, they resolve this hole within the national security apparatus and that they can end the Arrow office. That's the goal of the office, is to eventually destroy it, not need it. It's redundant. It's one of the questions that the lawmakers asked in the last congressional hearing. Is this redundant? And that's the answer Kirkpatrick gave. And all of these guys hate Kirkpatrick. I mean, we talked about it in my last video that I edited and put out this week. Let's see what else Rossi has to say. I mean, to think we're only halfway through this. I mean, whoa.
Be very easy for people to go, oh, there's no evidence. Oh, my goodness me. Let's just go away and ignore it.
There is.
Let's test it. We haven't even got there yet. You know, there's a whole cadre of supposed experts on social media who are saying it can't be, therefore it isn't.
We're not saying that at all. Nobody is saying that. We're saying for it to be, we need to see proof of it. I will always leave the possibility of it actually being real. God damn, I don't know how many times I have to say on this show since I ended the show and restarted the show. How many times have I said, I want to be wrong? I want to be wrong. More and more people are coming to my side daily. And hopefully, folks like Danny Silva start really seeing the light on this stuff and really calling out colleagues like Jeremy Corbell and saying, hey, why don't you correct 29 Palms? Like, we haven't even talked about that. I mean, look, I don't want to get sidetracked here. Like, there's so much. You know what? Maybe we'll do open room where you guys could call in and ask questions and we can talk about whatever the hell you guys want after we're done covering this. Maybe we'll do that for like a half hour or so. Let me know if you guys want to do that. Give me a capital hell yeah in the chat. And if I see more than 10, we'll do it. Okay, so let's see what else Ross has to say. I don't want to get sidetracked.
And that's been the default for so many years. It can't be, therefore it isn't. Imagine if what Mr. Grush is saying is true. Think about the implications of that. And imagine if, as I've just intimated to you.
He's asking you to believe. This is a sermon now. Imagine. Just imagine. Let that curiosity absolutely run wild with what I'm about to tell you in this luxurious Australian accent. It's pretty amazing, isn't it? Yeah.
Some of these objects are not capable of being moved because they're too bloody big.
Look at his face, dude. If that doesn't scream to you, somebody who is absolutely 100% full of shit, I don't know how Jay is falling for this stuff. Actually, I do. I do know. I do know how you're falling for it. It's the access. It's the attention you're getting with the channel. That shit's addictive. I would say break the addiction and ask him some real questions. Like, he clearly knows that there's a craft too big to house, so big, in fact, that they had to construct another building around it. It's in a different country. If I had to take a guess what Ross would say, I would put all my chips on Antarctica. I mean, we're already in Linda Moulton Howe land. We might as well put the craft in Antarctica because that's the perfect place to put it, right? Right? Antarctica. It's clearly there. But he never says where it is. But he knows it exists. He's had multiple sources tell him about it. But here he is. He's got the opportunity to tell the world, here's where you can find it on Google Maps. Prove it. You've got the information. Prove it. You've got the sources. Fucking prove it, Ross Coulthart. I want to be wrong. I want you to be right. Prove it. You have more information and better sources than any American journalists and any member of Congress. It's absolutely mind-boggling to me. You have disclosure hidden in your papers, in your journal. I don't know. Where do you journalists keep your secrets? Is it a diary, a journal? Is it a safe? Do you write them on an iPad and then put them in a safe? I don't know. But clearly, you're so convinced. You're so convinced that your journalistic integrity is kind of gone. You believe you don't have an unbiased opinion. You're going into this story with now a huge bias. And I would assume that you have that big bias because you have the information. So a non-American journalist has the best secrets on UFOs and alien visitation and is frustrated with American media because they don't want to cover the most interesting story ever told. Are you kidding me? They're not covering it because your sources don't check out. Because David Grush is just telling stories. He might be telling the truth, but he also might be lying. Or he might be just fooled and think that this is real, just like you. Maybe he has a big bias, just like you, just like Jay, just like Danny Silva, just like I had. You guys are going into this with a huge, look at this face. Look at this face. He's up to some bullshit. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. That doesn't even look like the face of a man who believes his own bullshit. This is such a stupid story. This is not a bombshell. This is not important at all in this discussion. At all. This is noise. This is mud. This is disinformation. This is anything and everything you can do to make news and get eyeballs. Not because you want those eyes to see truth, but because you want those eyes for yourself. I know that because I also had that same addiction with this topic. And I have that addiction in real life. I mean, for fuck's sake, I'm an actor. I perform all the time. All the time. In front of packed houses. Every month. So I understand that. But my packed houses and the shows that I'm doing aren't buying into a religion with my shows. Aren't losing family members because they're going to my shows. Aren't losing friendships. Aren't getting in arguments with perfect strangers because of my show. Aren't getting labels thrown on them or throwing labels at other people because of my show. That's the difference. You guys should all be actors. If you want the eyeballs that bad, come to Hollywood. I'll be your reader, as they say. I'll help you audition. I'll help you get your feet wet. Because all of you are amazing. And you're all really good looking. And these fucking accents, oh my God, like you make me melt. But that's not good enough. It's not proof. And Jay, my dude, you probably hate me right now. You're probably not even watching this. You probably shut it off. Who knows? But if this does get to you, stop this stuff. Stop. You know exactly what you're doing. And like he posted a question on Twitter, which was just such bullshit. So radical debunkers are definitely a problem, but honestly, I have a bigger issue with radical believers who have bought so heavily into the government narratives on this issue that they will attack, harass, and even dox people who they consider a challenge to that narrative. He's 100% right when he says this. But the problem is that he feeds the radical believers. You're feeding the radical believers. You're feeding the doxers. You're feeding the Sawans. You are feeding them when you put out a clip like this and don't push back against it. You're creating the problem. I hope you see that. Like he posted that 15 hours ago after he did this abomination. And that's exactly what this is. It's an abomination. And let's get something else straight. Ross doesn't like you. He's using you. He's using you to sell books. He's using you to sell a narrative, and you're using him to get 8,500 views so far in 24 hours. It's not a huge video. It's not huge. That's not viral for sure, which means that it's not that important. It's not bombshell news. Because if it was bombshell news, this would be 8.5 million. Look at this. I love that Ross is basically fanning the flames on the American psyche in every interview. I mean, that in the most positive way possible. I'm going to thumbs that one down. I'm the only one. Thank you, Ross, on behalf of the entire human race for the great work you're doing on our behalf. Definitely sucks. Ross has been working hard to keep it going. Has he? Like, I could go on all day. Like, these are the people... Not these people specifically, but this is the mentality that you're feeding that leads to doxing, that leads to that extreme hatred that you just referenced 15 hours ago. It's the thing that comes up to you at your UFO con and starts, videotaping, harassing you. You feed that, dude. And all those other UK guys, they don't like you either. Like, straight up. Straight up. They don't like you either, man. I like you. Like, I think you're a smart dude, and I hope you wake up to this, because it's... Yeah, you're the problem.
I mean, that's pretty astonishing. Have you said that before?
No. You're the
Of course
first.
not. He saved it
I
for
always
you.
save something for you, Jay.
Always save me a little something. No, seriously though, Ross, that's nuts. So you were told by someone, a trusted source, I imagine, that
multiple.
Multiple. I mean,
just tell you this. I know exactly where it is.
Why does an Australian journalist know exactly where the United States military most secret craft ever, and clearly biggest project ever? I mean, how many thousands and thousands and thousands of people would have to be shipped in, shift changes, paychecks, pay stubs, loose lips? How many people worked on this? He knows exactly where it is. Can we just listen to that part one more time?
So you were told by someone, a trusted source, I imagine, that...
Multiple.
Look at his face.
Let me just tell you this.
Look at him.
I know exactly where it is.
My goodness.
How do you not ask where? Jay? How do you not ask where after that? How do you not ask where? I know Ross is watching right now. There's 91 people here. You have to be watching, mate. You are a piece of work, man.
My goodness. Do you think that's going to come to light?
One day.
One day.
One day.
Yeah. And it's really interesting.
It's already come to light. Ross knows. It's already come to light. The biggest spotlight in Australian UFO history can't tell us where the craft is. It's under Casa Bonita in Colorado. Guys, subscribe, share, like, tell people about this show if you want to really counter this shit. Like, this is the show you share. Hey, you want maybe a different opinion on the craft so big it doesn't move? Oh, by the way, it's alien technology. Yeah. Alien technology so big it doesn't fucking move. Isn't that amazing?
Because it's absolutely gobsmacking that it's being kept as a secret.
Gobsmacking. It's not a secret. You know. How is that a secret? You know, buddy. And this is Jay. This is how shitty of an interviewer you are. It's not even that hard to be like, so where is it? North, south, east, west, hemisphere? You know, equator? Can you give us maybe a longitude? Anything. What dialect in the region? It's fucking Antarctica. I'm telling you, it's Antarctica. I'm telling you right now, it's Antarctica. Without a doubt. Without a doubt. Just ask Linda Moulton Howe. She did a whole documentary about Antarctica. She never even set foot on the fucking thing. Hey, you can just make documentaries about hidden pyramids that you've never been to. Whatever you want. Just put it in Antarctica. So big, so enormous. Maybe it's in Australia. I mean, that'd be kind of a, I guess, decent place to put it if you put it right smack dab in the middle of that scorched hell. Sorry, I don't mean that as a knock to the Australian people. But it is scorched hell out there. I mean, it'd be a good place to put something that big that doesn't move. Right? Like, nobody's going out there to visit. You know, they're going to Perth and Sydney. Man, this is... And I'm the bleeding debunker. Just hilarious. Danny, where are you? Are you still here, Danny Silva? Where are you, Danny? Guys, is Danny Silva still in the chat? Somebody add him. See if he's still in here. Smash that like button. Jay Roach, what's shaking? He's no Aussie. He's a Kiwi. Is he a New Zealander? Well, I'll take your word for it. I'll take your word for it. Yeah, I mean, makes sense. Makes sense. He might be Kiwi. Morgan Marshall, hello. Thank you for being here. Aaron Jackson, hello. Thank you for being here. Joe Carey, hello. Thank you for being here. Just taking a little break. UCR's no more, Brian. No, this is Lou Reviews. We killed UCR when Lou Elizondo put a shotgun in its mouth and pulled the trigger. Like, we killed that show, man. We killed it. Yeah. Not only into UCR, but the whole belief system. Because it's things like this. When you dig deep on who these guys are, they give you stuff like this. Fairy tales. What else does he have to say?
Imagine having an object that's so big, it's just not conceivable to move it.
I can't. I can barely even comprehend that.
Yeah. I thought it was bollocks when I heard it too, and most people listening to this will anyway. But
he's talking about a city so big, it's incomprehensible. That's a city. They built a floating city or an anti-gravitic city-sized ship or craft. And it's so big that nobody's leaked information about it. And they needed to build a building around it. I guess the schematics, when they started, they just kept adding. And they're like, oh, shit.
Yeah, I mean, again, just an allegation, but one that I'm, assured should be taken seriously and hopefully will be being investigated by the Congress. Because taken seriously, one that...
this is perfect. This highlights exactly that he always gives himself a little out. A little, it might not be true. Just in case you guys come back with pitchforks and torches, I could always point at this moment and say, you see, I was just said it was told to me. I didn't know if it was real or not. I trusted it was real, but I didn't know.
Yeah, I mean, again, just an allegation, but
just an allegation.
I'm, assured should be taken seriously.
You're
and
assured.
Hopefully.
So now he's assured. We're going to go back and listen to the whole thing without me saying, well, maybe that's impossible. I'll definitely say one or two things here and there, but I'll mostly try and just shut up. But we went from, I'm pretty sure this shit's real, to I'm fairly confident. I was assured.
Will be being investigated by the Congress.
This will not be investigated by Congress, and if it is, it will be for a fleeting micro moment that it wouldn't even be a God, I really need a truly free platform where I'm not allowed to say stuff, but like, it would be less than a fart. Be less than a lady fart. How about we call it that? Like, dude, nobody is taking this claim seriously except you and Jay from Project Unity. So open-minded that his brains are literally falling out on camera here. You didn't ask one follow-up to that? Not one. Just, so sources, huh? Must be pretty good sources that told you that. Sure was, pal. Thanks for not pushing back. That's why I always got something really juicy for you. Every time I come here, I give you the juice. Save you the juiciest, fattiest part of the tenderloin there, Jay. Just for you. But yet, he'll probably do this on some other shows. Because that's the beauty, is it? He tells everybody, oh, I got something special for you, mate. Don't worry about it, mate, huh? Don't you worry. We'll give you something just magnificent. It's going to be great.
Because again, where did the money come from?
Yes. Where did the money come from? Because you're talking about a city, incomprehensible size, massive in a different country. Where did that money come from? How big was the budget on this project? These are all things you could have asked, Jay. I mean, how do you hide that kind of money? I mean, okay, let's just theoretically, can we Google how much an aircraft carrier cost? $12.9 billion. We'll just round her up to the good old 13 billion. That's not incomprehensible. An aircraft carrier, so it must be bigger than that. Twice as big? 3 times as big? 4 times as big? 5, 6, 20, 80, 100 times as big? 100 times aircraft carrier seems incomprehensible. I think that's when I'd go, holy fuck, I don't even know where to start on this thing. It's incomprehensible. 100 air. This is the size of 100. This is a city. This is a city. This is 100 cities. If you know anything about aircraft carriers, they're all moving cities essentially. So this is 100. Okay, yes, this is incomprehensible. So 100 times 13 billion. Where did the money come from, Ross? Because I can assure you it's not the American taxpayer. And there ain't enough fucking heroin in the world for the CIA to sell for that to be funded. That's like the Death Star. Are we building the Death Star, Ross? That would be incomprehensible. And I'm the bloody skeptic. Is Danny Silva here? Where are you, Danny? Can we take a look at this real quick? Because I bookmarked it because it was hilarious. Joe Murgia's reaction to this news. Holy shit! Breaking news! It's not really breaking news, but that kind of headline is used by lots of folks to get attention for their tweets. You're so clever, One Shirt Joe. This is good stuff from Ross, period. In the recent interview Ross Coulthart did with Toe Kurt, he was very pessimistic. Oh boy, Jesus Christ, there's more. Very pessimistic about the future of disclosure. It was depressing to hear. But since Marco Rubio gave that interview on Joe Khalil TV, Ross's spirits have been lifted. Plus, when he asked one of his sources to give him a reason for some optimism, this is what he was told. Sounds like it may be from a congressional staffer. Quote, please let folks know the Congress is doing everything we can to try and increase transparency. As long as we learn things with confidence, we're trying to convey it and making a conscious and controversial decision to do it publicly. We have an entire classified annex of guidance that no one ever sees. If we weren't pushing to make the public aware, the language would be there. There equals classified annex. These incredibly highly classified issues don't easily lend themselves to detailed disclosure, but I'm confident now that members are committed to doing everything they can, end quote. And this from a second source of his. What a douche. What a douche. What a douche. I can't read anymore. He's so stupid. But what I found amazing was this. This is like perfect. Where are you, Danny Silva? We're talking about you. So Danny Silva said something that got him into a lot of trouble. I'm not one to ask people to burn sources, but if Ross Coulthart claims is true, he can cause disclosure by publishing the location. Completely legitimate request. Ross is sitting on disclosure, period. If we're going to ask the government to come clean because they can cause disclosure, we should hold Ross to that. Mwah. I retweeted that. Perfection. From a guy who believes everything Jeremy Corbell puts out. Or at least, if he doesn't believe it, he definitely never challenges it. Sorry, got to call you out there, buddy. But I hope to see more stuff like this. I would love to see your opinion on 29 Palms. Please ask Jeremy Corbell to correct 29 Palms, because when people like you say it, it means something. It really does, because you're on the team. You're on the team. Whether you like to admit it or not, you're on that side. Maybe I'm breaking this news to you. I never thought of you on that side. I've always thought, he's close to where I was. Was, past tense. I think eventually you're going to get to exactly where I am. Eventually. I don't know if you'll be as angry, because that's just not your style. But I know you'll be annoyed. I know it'll destroy you. Like, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt real bad when you figure out. I think you already know that these guys are bullshitting you. But what was great, let's see, I think I muted this, but this is great. So I think when I shared it, UFO Joe basically bitched about it, saying like how you're now on look who's retweeting your I'm paraphrasing here, but look who's retweeting your shit. Look whose side you're on. You're on Lou's side. Lou is championing what you said, and now because of that, we're making Ross look like a dickhead. And now he got in a lot of trouble. I'm sure Joe's not happy with Danny Silva right now. I'm sure Jeremy Corbell is probably not happy with Danny Silva right now. I sure as hell know Ross Coulthart is not happy with Danny Silva right now, for sure. That took a lot of balls to do that, and hats off. No, hats off. Like, actual hat off. Like, that takes a lot of balls to do. Now imagine doing exactly that, but you had the best and most popular UFO channel on YouTube. It'd be a lot harder to do something like that. Probably. I don't know. Why would I know? This idea that disclosure, talking about this topic in this way, is an industry. I mean, I'll show you guys right now what I made last month on YouTube. I love showing you, being transparent with my audience. I enjoy being transparent with my audience. I made $126 last month on this channel. $126. Everybody knows what this number used to be. This used to be almost $2,000 a month. So if you're going to fucking look me in the face and call this an industry, you're oh, dude, so many. I would love to debate Matt Ford. As a matter of fact, if you want to accept this challenge to debate, I would love to debate you on this topic. Love it. I would kill for that opportunity. Your show, my show, doesn't matter. Name it. We could do it on somebody else's show. Does not matter. Name the place, the time. I'll be there. I'll be there. To actually suggest that this isn't, to have this opinion is an industry. I'm saying this because I believe it. I actually believe it. I believe what I'm saying. I don't think you guys, some of you guys that are watching this show right now, I don't think you guys believe your own bullshit. I don't think Ross believes it. I think Jay believes it. I think Danny's holding on to the last thread, and that last thread's about to snap for you, Danny Silva. Don't worry, bro. I'll be here to catch you, or at least help break the fall. But yeah, it's not going to be fun. telling you right now. Like to suggest that there's money in this is an absolute joke. Why don't you ask that UFO podcast? Ask them to show you their numbers. I asked them last year. I still have yet to hear from them. Ask Jay, Project Unity, what his YouTube numbers look like and how much money he makes off of his Patreon. Ask Linda Bolton Howe to show her financials like I have multiple times. Even at the height of my show, I showed people how much I was making because I've always wanted to be honest with my audience. This is what honesty looks like. This is what, man, I hate tooting my own horn like this, but this is what character looks like. This is what being honest and holding true to values looks like. Holding on to values never gets cheered. It always gets booed. Always. Always. Nobody's cheering. I mean, I don't want to say nobody. There's a great core of fans out there that I love you guys to death. And you're making, the show is actually growing, but it's not growing at the pace that UCR did. Nowhere near. I'm losing more subscribers every day. Hundreds a month, because I'm sticking to this. Because you could give me $5 billion and I would have done the exact same thing. Yep, it's going to be another 3 years before we definitively, I think, get an answer on this. And even if they do, let's say, come back with something, I'm going to question the shit out of it until it's definitive, 100%. Because I really do think that a lot of tech, for example, the SR-71 Blackbird, there were rumors about that plane for years. And I think that maybe some of these 5 observables are rumors of our craft. That I would not put out of the realm of possibility, because it's more likely that humans have made this tech than aliens coming to visit us from somewhere else. That is the more mathematical probability. Greg O'Brien, thank you so much for the $3.33 donation. Hell yeah. Appreciate it. Let's see what else he's got to say.
What's that money accounted for?
Where is that money?
The continued security and control of such an object for many decades.
Is he saying that this object has existed for many decades? And he can't fathom the security or how to keep that a secret for many decades? Am I reading that right?
The continued security and control of such an object for many decades. Who's paid for that? What programs have paid for that? Has that been disclosed to taxpayers? This is going to be a really fun inquiry if Congress starts doing its job.
You think feds are going to visit Ross for spooking the sheep? I don't think the feds give a shit. I mean, at this point, it seems like they don't care. I don't understand how it doesn't fall under bad business practices, these entities. Especially, not so much the smaller ones, because I'm talking about the Linda Moulton Howes, the millionaires off of this topic, the Jeremy Corbells. I'm sure Ross Coulthart is. I'm curious to know how many books he's sold in plain sight. I don't know. I mean, it's everywhere. There's so many places you can buy this audiobook. 28,000 results. I mean, the book ranges anywhere between $27.95 and $14.95, and the audiobook is probably, in that price range as well. I mean, dude, that's a lot of money. It's a lot of money, and every time he does an interview, he sells more of those books. I don't understand how it doesn't fall under an investigation like of some kind, especially when these opinions and these people are influencing members of Congress, which they clearly are. Clearly. Especially Jeremy Corbell. I mean, they referenced his work in the first congressional hearing. Andre Carson referenced him specifically for his great work. They're influencing Congress. These people should be investigated for their claims, and they should also be investigated about who their sources are. I'd like Congress to get to the bottom of the sources for Ross Coulthart and Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp and Linda Moulton Howe and any other UFO grifter out there. I want Congress to look at the sources, the people leaking this information, because this is highly classified information. If this is true, if Ross Coulthart is correct, he should be arrested. There should be international police knocking on his door right now. If this was actually real technology. Again, we saw what happened to the guy who was leaking secrets, in Discord. And the cavalcade that showed up to arrest his ass. If Congress wants to get to the bottom of this, get to the bottom of Ross Coulthart's sources. It's really simple. Really, really simple. Because clearly he knows more than Congress. He knows more than anyone. He
writes about how the new Senate intelligence bill that Kirsten Gallagher is pushing, it gives holders of non-Earth origin or exotic UAP material 6 months to make it available to the all-domain anomaly resolution office.
Yeah, but Ross, doesn't that just give them 6 months or more to hide their shit?
Sure does.
Okay.
Thanks, Greg.
People are going to question what I'm about to say. What if some of that shit is so big it can't be moved?
Is that what you're saying, Ross? Is that what you've been told?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
How big is big?
Big. So big, they built a building over it.
Is that right?
In a country outside of the United States of America.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Look at his face, dude. It's Antarctica. It definitely, wherever this country is, 100% starts with an A. 100% it starts with an A. It's either Australia, Antarctica. What other countries start with an A? America? It's not technically a country. Dude. That is one big pile of shit, Eventide. 100% agree.
And I know, oh my God, you can just hear them now, the bleating debunkers. Let's see this investigated. Let's just see what happens. Let's test these allegations before the Congress. It's very, very easy for people to go,
Albania.
Oh, there's no evidence. Oh, my goodness me. Let's just go away and ignore it. Let's test it. We haven't even got there yet.
If this craft was, let's just say this craft was located in Arkansas. Let's just propose for a moment that is true. And that's a great, I'm happy you said Arkansas, Artisan Tony, because now we could really sort of put it into a perspective that we can understand. And I know I said I wasn't going to stop this video, but God, that made me think. Because in Los Angeles right now, there are actually three major construction projects happening. There's the George Lucas Museum, which is going to be sick. There is a brand new Clippers arena and a brand new shuttle system that's being built around LAX. And we just completed construction a couple of years ago on the brand new SoFi Stadium. When you build projects of this magnitude, it changes the neighborhoods. Whole economies are sprung up around these kinds of venues. You've seen the changes in the neighborhood over the 13 years that I've lived here in Los Angeles. Inglewood is Disneyland when you drive through it now, especially by the stadiums. Not all of it, but it is cleaned up significantly. Now some will call it gentrification. We can get into the conversation about that all day. Thank you for the $10 donation, James Craig. Can't wait for your show with Rather coming up. Me too. My point being is that the construction workers spend money near the projects that they are building. Things spring out of projects this massive. So wherever you put this thing, if it's in the middle of nowhere, you're going to have to build facilities where your construction team can sleep, eat, So you need to build a city first, house it with all of the secret construction workers that have to sign NDAs that you could somehow 100% guarantee don't say anything for decades. According to Ross, this craft has existed. So you had to build a city, then you built the craft that is incomprehensible, so big that you had to then build a structure so big you couldn't move it, and then had to build a structure around it. Sounds like the biggest waste of money in the history of construction projects. So many questions come up for me. Why? Number one, why do you need is it a craft? What's its purpose if we can't move it? How did you not build the infrastructure to hide it before you built it? So many questions come up about this. And it just proves to me that whoever Ross's source is sounds like a David Grush type fella. Where I'm sure the credentials are amazing, but the claims are unverified. And the follow-up questions for those claims, I guess, are non-existent. Because I'm sure the questions I'm asking, Ross has to have asked, right? Imagine a construction, a brand new stadium going up in your hometown. How that would change and bring money into your economy. I mean, it's insane. Absolute insanity. You can't to build something that big, you would need not a couple of construction tools. You would need all of them everywhere. You would need every hoe, every tractor, every bulldozer, every gravel loading truck. You would need all of them. This would have to be a worldwide effort. This sounds like something in the movie Contact, where all countries would have to come together to fund something like this and actually build it. That's what you're suggesting, Ross Coulthart? Thank you for the donation, John Doe. Ross loves some Ross. First, he was losing his mind that Lockheed was trying to make a move, was trying to move a UFO, and now there's a UFO so big it can't be moved. He's lost his mind. I can't argue with that. What's my opinion on David Paulides? I think he's a grifter. I think he takes... I don't want to talk about David Paulides. I think he's irrelevant. I think he's just another spooky guy with spooky stories who used to be a cop, and somehow that's like the green light to trust every technique and every thing he says. Like I some of his documentaries interesting, compelling, but again, no proof, man. Like I don't know what kind of parents those people were to that kid. I don't know if some fucking wolf come and ate him and dragged him off. Yeah, who knows, dude? It's a national park. Like stuff like that happens all the time. All the time. But yeah, I think he's a huge grifter. I think he's James Fox. But more than just a filmmaker. He's just also happens to be a retired cop. You know, like so many retired cops in this field. I wonder if these retired cops were actually fired. Cops don't usually just retire early. I know this because I grew up with a cop. My stepdad was a robbery detective in Metro-Dade Police Department. So I know how that life is. Usually cops don't just walk away from a pension, especially when they're so close to the drop, like a David Paulides. I mean, a lot of cops in this field, former cops, some known to be women abusers. Some are on military bases across the world giving UFO information and pushing war with Ukraine. Yeah, a lot of cops. It's just wild. Anyway, James Fox is like a retired schmuck. Let's play the rest of this.
You know, there's a whole cadre of supposed experts on social media who are saying it can't be, therefore it isn't. And that's been the default for so many years. It can't be, therefore it isn't. Imagine if what Mr. Grush is saying is true. Think about the implications of that. And imagine if, as I've just intimated to you.
Oh, did I offend someone, Mishka? I'm sorry if I offended you. I'm a little rough around the edges. I apologize. I've been used, abused, blackmailed, lied to, manipulated. A lot of things have happened on this channel. So yeah, if I seem a little bitter, it's probably because I am. But I promise you, I'm a fun dude. I promise you. People who know me in real life, thumbs up.
Some of these objects are not capable of being moved because they're too bloody big.
I mean, that's pretty astonishing. Have you said that before?
No, you're the first. See, I always save something for you, Jay.
Always save me a little something. No, seriously though, Ross, that's nuts. So you were told by someone, a trusted source, I imagine, that
multiple. Let me just tell you this: I know exactly where it is.
I wonder if he's been there.
My goodness.
Look at this face, man. Where are the behavior panel? Like this is the clip I want to send them. You know what? Let's do that right now. Let's tweet at them just because I think it's important. You guys get to see what a terrible typer I am. Behavior panel. Let's see. It'll come up. No? What? Why can't I find these guys? Behavior. Did I miss? The behavior panel. Dude, I hate search on Twitter. It's so stupid. So dumb. I mean, just typing it out is funny. Like, oh, darn it. I hate when I do that. I always forget to put in that goddamn. There we go. Well, now I get 2 notifications. Anyway, let's see if they say anything about it. I'd love this. I would love for them to check out this small clip of this story and see if they break it down. It'd be super easy.
Do you think that's going to come to light?
One day.
One day.
One day.
Yeah. And it's really interesting because it's absolutely gobsmacking that it's being kept as a secret.
Jesus.
Imagine having an object that's so big, it's just not conceivable to move it.
It's not conceivable.
I can't. I can barely even comprehend that.
Yeah. I thought it was bollocks when I heard it too, and most people listening to this will anyway. But yeah, I mean, again, just an allegation, but one that I'm, assured should be taken seriously and hopefully will be being investigated by the Congress. Because again, where did the money come from? Was that money accounted for? The continued security and control of such an object for many decades. Who's paid for that? What programs have paid for that? Has that been disclosed to taxpayers? This is going to be a really fun inquiry. If Congress starts doing its job.
Is it? Is it? It is going to be a fun inquiry, Ross Coulthart. Mishka. I saw a craft at a being in 1993. I remember it's clear as day. Peculiar craft that disappeared in a wink and a typical gray alien on the ground. Believe me or don't, I have no proof. Mishka, I've also seen a craft in, weirdly enough, 1993 also. I didn't see any occupants. It left a huge impression on me. Absolutely. But my experience is not proof. And you said it yourself, you have no proof, right? So it's a story, it's important, especially to you. And I'm not going to take that away from you, but I also will not allow you to put that on the table as proof. Just like I'm not allowed to put my experience on the table as proof. And also 1993 was 30 years ago. That's a really old memory. And scientific fact, memories change. And every time you remember something, you're not remembering the actual thing. You're remembering the last time you remembered it. Your memory is accessing the last time you remembered it, not the original memory. So you really got to think about that when you take your experience into account. And if it's something that has affected you to a point where it's alienating you from family, friends, co-workers, if it gives you an anxiety or you're unhappy because of this experience, my strong recommendation is to seek psychiatric help. See a shrink, see a doctor, talk to somebody that's not your friend. Talk to somebody that's not a family member. Talk to somebody that's not a hypnotherapist or a UFO support group. get away from those places as far as you can. If you're genuinely seeking closure, or I don't think you'll ever get closure, because I have still yet to get closure, even with all the professional help that I've sought and sought out. That would be my advice, Mishka. Like, I'm a comedian by trade. I'm an actor, and so therefore I'm opinionated, and sometimes those opinions come out with some fire. But there's a reason for that fire. There's a reason for it. There's a history. There's a lot of activism work that I did on behalf of this topic. There's a lot of things that you may not know about this show. We've had Lou Elizondo on this show 7 times. We've had every guest, ranging from, the only people I have not spoken to are Stephen Greer, Linda Moulton Howe, and can't think of anybody else that I really wanted to talk to past that. I think we blew up the channel before we ever had the opportunity. But when your personal messages are leaked to mystery people online and former veterans that are bootlickers, and those bootlickers then demand you to apologize for something you didn't do that was wrong, and if you don't apologize, we're going to leak these messages. Leak them. Go for it. You're not gonna blackmail me. I'm not wrong. Let the world decide if those text messages mean what they actually say. There's a lot of stuff, Mishka. Can't go into it. I've talked about it so many times. I feel like it's ad nauseum at this point. Maybe one day I know for sure one day I'm gonna make detailed account and a timeline of everything that happened with UCR from the very beginning to the very end. It's why I've privatized all the videos, because I'm going to archive that, and I'm going to make some kind of either mini doc or documentary when I've got the bandwidth to do it. Right now, I don't want to focus my life on that. I've got so many other wonderful things happening outside of this discussion. To do this is just cathartic for me. This is just to get the annoying things I see online through people like Ross Coulthart and the Linda Moulton Howes and all of these grifters, that UFO podcasts. Like, when I see them doxing our friend of the show, Rather Be Squidding, when I see them, feeding in to this harassment culture, this doxing culture, yeah, my opinions are going to be a little hot. They're going to have a little tinge on them. And I don't want to apologize for it, because I've got nothing to be sorry about. I haven't done anything wrong, and my opinions are real hard now, because that's what happens when you manipulate friends. Like, I would love to do, everyone who calls me a baby and how I complain and bitch about this all the time. Like, I would love to do to you what was done to me, and see what your reaction would be. And what's even stranger is a lot of you guys saw it happen in real time, and you still look the other way. Just again shows people who they really are. So it's a good line in the sand, because now I know everything, where people stand. So I hope you stick around, Mishka. And if this show's not for you, hey, it's not for you. There are plenty other opinions and places to go for this topic. I'm not the end all be all, that's for sure. So please go explore, or stick around, like, share, subscribe, and if you really love the show, donate to the Patreon. It helps. Anyway, let's see here. There are a couple other things that I wanted to touch on. I don't know if I'm gonna put the old invite out there, but there was a couple things. Yeah, okay, so let's talk about 29 Palms for a second, because John Greenwald did something absolutely amazing the other day. God, there's so many things that we have to talk about. It's insane. Where's the Black Vault? Let me just pull this up because this was amazing. So on July 7th, which was yesterday, John Greenwald released this exclusive. He of course FOIA'd everything, all of the facts that came out about 29 Palms. Mick West and John Greenwald, within an hour of that story coming out, basically debunked it, figured it out, offered the best solution, lined up flares from that night, from a training exercises, with the photos that Jeremy Corbell provided as proof, and 4 other journalists that looked at this story for 2 years just somehow missed the huge training exercise the same night. A bunch of journalists, by the way, Liberation Times, Jeremy Corbell, and George Knapp specifically, you are the shoddiest journalists that exists on the planet, especially Liberation Times. You're not journalism. You are a blog at best, and a really bad one at that. So John Greenwald, thankfully, actually he put this out earlier. Let me find the original post. Because, okay, here we go. So July 6th, he put this out. I knew it was a little earlier. So he writes, remember the 29 Palms UAP footage that caused a ton of hoopla weeks ago? I've just received the FOIA, a large amount of photographs and new/longer video, which I feel definitively shows these aliens, or these are flares. I am posting now, but it may take a bit to upload. Until then, here you go. And one of the 3 videos released in 1080p, CCing Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp. Not a peep from Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp. Not a correction, not an acknowledgement. And here is, and the hilarious thing is, we're going to talk about that book cover in a second. Dude, I know it's so weird. Like, some of the things I bookmark are not bookmarking. You know what? I just saw it on John's thing, like over here somewhere. Sorry, guys. But this is a really great, like, little video of Jeremy Corbell lying, essentially. You know what? Let me just look at my profile, because I know for sure I retweeted this. Yeah, we're definitely gonna check out Cosmic Judas's page before we get out of here. Where is it? Man, somebody tweets a lot. Okay. Right here, I believe it is. Oh no, wait, that's John realizing that the Good Trouble show is also Matt Ford, and is also Stand for Better. So yeah, John didn't realize that. Let me see. God, dude, somebody's got to stop tweeting so much. Jesus. Where is it, bro? I hate Twitter. It's the worst, man. Does anybody know who the hell put out that video of Jeremy Corbell? They edited him saying, "Oh, this is not a craft," and then immediately going, "You know what? It is a craft." Like, how many times he said that this 29 Palms case, these lights, these flares were 100% craft, 100% craft. Dude. Gotta bookmark these things. So annoying. So annoying. Let's see here. By the way, let's talk about this here real quick. Travis Taylor's new book, Ballistic. This cover slaps. The world held hostage from space. Only astronauts can save it. I mean, look at this book cover. That's pretty sick. And I said it looked like an Atari book cover or a video game cover. And said, J.R. Doyle, shout out to you, made an Atari cover of it. That's awesome. Look at that. Pretty sick. That is pretty sick, you guys. Let's see here. God, where is this, man? It's weird. It's not even showing up in my timeline. That's the part that's just really irking me, because I know for sure I shared it. I mean, I share everything Cosmic Judas does. Dude, what is the deal? God, I wanted to play this for you guys so badly. Is this it? Yeah, Charlie Weiser. Yeah, okay, sorry, Charlie.
You remember
it was Charlie. Jesus.
You
All
remember
right, here we go.
last week in that show where we declared our belief that this is an alien spaceship, an emissary from the planet Kondak, right?
How might it react if it's intelligently controlled?
Was it you who said that?
I'm definitely saying that we have a spaceship. No, I fucking didn't say that. I was very clear.
This was an object. The object was sitting there. So I'm not gonna say object anymore. It was a craft. It was a craft. It was a craft. This is something Arrow should know about.
My mom.
This craft, right on top of this craft that was there to illuminate this craft and what this string of lights on a craft looked like. So this was not flares, not flares,
not flares.
Not flares. The craft was
definitely
sitting there,
a craft.
and while the craft is stationary, and you could see the shape of the craft. As it's getting close to that craft, the entire craft disappeared. So this was not flares, not flares, not flares.
My mom.
This is something that was a mass sighting of a UFO, an incursion over a military base. This was a craft. This was a craft. This was a craft.
My mom.
If there is an incursion of an unknown craft of unknown origin that can hover like that with zero sound.
No, I fucking didn't say that. My mom reads UFO Twitter and sends me really mean stuff that people say.
I wonder why. Wonder why people are saying really mean stuff about you.
You remember last week in that show where we declared our...
And the fact that Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp have not even... And that's the move. Just ignore it. Who cares? Because we're going to just throw out another video and another picture, and it's going to get on the news, and it's going to be used over and over and over again. We'll be sourced. We'll get the interviews. We'll get the clicks. We'll get the likes. We'll get the subscriptions to the podcast. We'll sell the movies. We'll sell the books. We'll sell it all. And who cares? Because in 2 weeks, when you FOIA this shit and it all comes out to be bullshit, we've already moved on to the next bullshit, man. We're not even going to acknowledge that, man. Where are you? Like Dave Foley, one of my comedic heroes, who is now starting a UFO podcast. I've worked with Dave Foley. I did a movie with Dave Foley. It's the biggest brag of my life that I did a movie with Dave Foley and Scott Thompson from Kids in the Hall. It was hands down the pinnacle of my achievement as an actor. I cannot tell you how big of an influence Kids in the Hall had on me becoming an actor. If I had known he was in the UFOs when we were on set, holy cow, that would have been awesome, but I had no clue. I've tried reaching out to him. He's been on my show. He knows exactly who I am, and he is now pushing this bullshit. And he is now defending this bullshit without... And Dave Foley is one of the smartest comedic minds on the planet. And it just goes to show you that really smart people can fall for some really stupid shit. And sometimes your heroes fall for some really stupid shit. And Dave Foley, you're falling for some really stupid shit. And Jeremy Corbell's making you look like a dickhead. Grade A dickhead. The fact that you can't call out your friend and ask him publicly, where the hell's the proof of this? And well, not even so much where's there is no proof of it being a craft. There's proof of it being flares. 100% undeniable, concrete. This case is over. 29 Palms was not a UFO. Those 10, 100, 20, however many Marines were there, they all got it wrong. That should also be another big thing you take away from this. All of those Marines, all of those trained observers got it wrong, or were just straight up lying to Jeremy Corbell. And none of them actually did any kind of research on this story whatsoever. I mean, the fact that Mick West and John Greenwald figured this out in an hour, and it took you schmucks 2 years to put out this information because you were checking it and being thorough. I mean, do you see why I'm bitter? Like, do you see why? Like, I have such a mocking tone when I talk about this, because this level of proof is as deep as a puddle. It's a really bad bar. A really, really bad bar. But anyway, I've talked long enough. I think I'm gonna get the hell out of here, guys. I'm gonna go enjoy the rest of my Saturday. And I suggest that all of you guys do the same. It seems that if you want this to be real, then proof will not sway you. If you want this to be real bullshit, then proof that it is real will not sway you. We're all entrenched in our positions. It's not a position. You have to provide proof. You say the world is round? Okay. Well, I'm looking around and it looks flat to me. Prove it. It's the exact same thing we're dealing with here. Exact same. And I'm not being an asshole when I say prove it. It's not, the burden is not on me to prove it. The claims are coming from you. You prove it. Anytime these big cases, these monumental news moments, every time they're put on the murder board of science and reason, all the holes are found so quickly. So quickly. That should be a big red flag for people like you, Mish Kayla. If I got your name right. I'm sorry if I didn't get your name right. Mishka Kozlovsky. Mishka Kozlovsky. Sorry, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. That's the proof we need. Anyway, you guys, thank you so much. Again, if you haven't already, like, share, subscribe, Patreon, all the links for that stuff are down below. Yeah. I don't know when Rather's gonna be here. I'm gonna hit him up after the show, or tomorrow sometime, and figure out what day he's gonna come in. But he's definitely, hopefully, gonna be here this week. And yeah, we're gonna talk about everything that happened to Rather, all the doxing, Dan Zetterstrom, all of that stuff. We're gonna talk about all of that. And yeah, needs to be said, needs to be talked about. Because what Dan Zetterstrom did was the scummiest thing. Also, we're going to, speaking of Dan Zetterstrom, we're going to review episode 1, the free episode of Phenomenology. I watched it. I'm going to save my opinions for the review. But yeah, a lot of people out here parading as filmmakers, and y'all ain't fucking filmmakers, but that's a whole nother day. We'll get there soon. All right, guys, have a killer Saturday night. Whatever you do, go have some fun, get the fuck away from this stuff, at least for the rest of the weekend. And I'll see you guys later. Peace. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Eventide. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Pat Calabria. Thank you, Mishka Kozlovsky. Even though we don't agree, I appreciate you being here. At least you're listening. Silly Goose, thank you for being here. M, What's Shaking? Tony Mahoney, UFO John Doe, Chris Hantis. You guys, thank you for being here. Complizier, thank you for being here. Thank you for the donations, guys. James Craig, you guys are all welcome. Dana, Greg O'Brien, Wild Bill, you guys, thank you so much for being here. Let's see. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anybody. To Event Tide, thank you so much for being here, man. Joe Carey. Let's see if I'm missing anybody. I think that's everyone. Cosmic Judas. Oh my gosh. You know what? Let's go ahead and end the show with some Cosmic Judas. I'm gonna go ahead and let's do this, man. Let's do this. Cosmic Judas. Where are you, baby? Let's end the show on, hands down, the best thing on UFO Twitter, without a doubt, is Cosmic Judas. So let's see here. There we go. There we go. Cosmic Judas. Let's turn down the music and one more time with this one. One more time. I mean, it's a greatest hit at this point.
How big is big?
Big. Okay. Is so big it can't be moved.
Is that what you're saying, Ross? Is that what you've been
That's
told?
exactly what I'm saying. So big they built a building over it. In a country,
I mean, when you add that porno music, it just,
America.
God, it just shows how silly this conversation is. And that's the beauty of Cosmic Judas. Is in 38 seconds, he says what I said in an hour. Just beautifully highlights how silly this whole thing is. But yeah, this is another good one. Here we go. Here we go. It's, I don't know what we call them, but just the cult members. This is what happens when they get a like from Lou Elizondo.
You will ride eternal, shiny and chrome.
They ride eternal, shiny, and chrome. Here we go. This is beautiful.
My body right now. Zero. You know what? I have 0% alcohol in my body right now. Zero. I've been drinking coffee most of the time and apple juice.
Okay.
You know what? I have 0% alcohol in my body right now. Zero.
Calm down, Lou.
I've been drinking coffee most of the time.
Calm down,
and
Lou.
apple juice. You know what?
This is, I just found this one today. I missed this one. I don't know how I did, but yeah, this is gold.
I think before you open that up or do anything like that, I would definitely. Or maybe not. How big is it?
Oh my God. It stinks though. Just a good old gif of Lou bobbing in a wetsuit. Oh God, how I love this dude. Here we go. This is another great one. In the future. Oh gosh, I keep hitting the wrong screen. There we go. In the future, ufologists experience a profound transformation as their eyes evolve into larger eyes, granting them an extraordinary, an extraordinary power to perceive and witness UFOs. There's no reason to be saddened by this, as it is a natural occurrence. Oh my God. Green Street. Yes, of course. The slow motion walk of Nolan. Oh, here we go. I love how he turned phenomenology into a horror movie.
We've all traveled a long, long way.
I want to actually see this movie.
Some bad news.
No. Like, those are the actual credits from the show. Like, fucking hilarious. Look at this. Phenomenology. Featuring Ashley Cowie, History Fuzz, Vinny Adams, Disclosure Team, Dan Zetterstrom, That UFO Podcast, Priscilla Stone, quantum witch. Like, okay. Walter Payne, space analyst. Jennifer Lucas, UAP researcher. Hayden Calnan, composer. Alina Loftus, UAP researcher, and Stephen Mueller, archaeologist. Dude.
And but if you lie to us, the hammer comes down, and we won't hold you accountable for it. We won't punish you. But if you don't, then you're going to be in trouble.
Would you ever hide from the global and American public if you found out the absolute 100% truth, or would George Knapp, would you report on it?
I don't know.
Really?
I don't know.
Oh my God.
These papers.
I mean, I've grappled with that question. Let's say
George Knapp is always walking around with this messy pile of papers that nobody ever gets to see. Nobody ever gets to see what's in this pile of shit.
And says, all right, we can tell you, you can come in and see it. We'll let you into Area 51. There it is. But on the condition that you can never report it?
Huh?
That's a tough question.
That's a tough question. And then we'll end with this one. Actually, we won't end with this one. We got one more after this. Here we go. This is brilliant.
Everybody watching this right now is looking at your face. Your face. Your face. Your face. We are not alone. There is an intelligent species engaging with this planet.
Uh-huh.
So who is this guy really?
I'm Ross Coulthart.
There is a non-human species, and it's incredibly benevolently well disposed to the human race.
Oh my God, I love you all. I'll see you. Have a great weekend.
This right now is looking at your face. Your face. Your face. Your face.
Wait.
We are not alone. Ooh. So who is this guy?
There we go. All right. Have a great weekend, y'all. Love you. Peace. Oh, I got a response for you, Aaron Jackson. Let's see here. Well, they're the ones on the base. They see this on the regular, so your retort doesn't hold weight. Oh, is that right, Aaron Jackson? Is that right? Well, it does not hold weight. So the hundreds of videos and photos that match up perfectly to the bullshit that they saw holds no weight? Aaron Jackson? So you believe the two guys over the Marines? Yeah. I believe the two guys in all of the footage and all of the pictures over the fucking Marines that got it wrong. Yes. Yes, Aaron Jackson. Am I un-American now for you? How dare I question a Marine's eyeballs? How dare I? Here's your response, pal. You got it. Is there anything else? Is there anything else you got, Aaron Jackson? No? You good? Did you get it out of your system? Whoever you are, Jeremy Corbell, friend of Jeremy Corbell, Aaron Jackson. Anything else? No, I'll go ahead. I'll give you the floor. Really, I'm waiting, Aaron Jackson. Is this still a joke? Do you have a rebuttal to the hundreds of photos and videos? No? Boy, it got quiet from Aaron Jackson. Okay, I'll let this song play out. I'll be here just in case you change your mind. Motherfucker. Yeah, I know that shit ain't unmuted, bitch. Later, Aaron Jackson.